down. I'm going to walk you through exactly how my client Stacy got 160 days sober. What? The goal of this video is to show you how Stacy got sober in S7, so that way you can do it too. So this is exactly where her and I started. I'm going to show you a video of our conversation. And so prior to joining S7, how long had you been struggling with your sobriety before?
So I have been struggling with sobriety from my early 20s, I would say, like about 25, 26, and I'm 51 now. So I would say over 25 years, I've been struggling with addiction and trying to quit. And then and then I'd start up again, or you know what I mean? Oh, I'm just gonna, I'd be good for a bit. And then I would just go out off the rails, just lose control. Like it was just very up and down, so I would say 25 to 26 years for sure. I've been struggling with addiction, just trying.
And why were you struggling with addiction? Like, what have we identified in this program? Like, what was it that was causing you to be addicted to alcohol, to drugs prior to the program?
I feel I've just been suppressing a lot of emotions, like things I didn't want to deal with. And I just think it was easier just to escape by, grabbing a drink or doing some drugs. It's just escapism. Like you're just like, you want to escape from these emotions that are making you feel sad or angry or depressed or, things that you just don't understand why this is happening. So it's just easier to grab something to help you just escape it, right? And I wasn't maybe not ready to deal with it, or I don't think I wasn't ready to deal with it, but I also feel I wasn't given the proper tools. Like I didn't find what could help me, and like that's what is so great about this is that these tools that you give us is unbelievable. It's like I'm mind blowing. I have never not drank or done drugs for this long. Like it's crazy. Well, more drinking because the drugs I just kind of recently started to do again. But the drugs or the drinking, sorry, I've been drinking for a long time, right? And I've stopped for like maybe a month, but never 5 months, never. And I don't even want to drink. Yeah. Like I do not even want to have a drink. I can't even believe it. Like I'm just like it doesn't even faze me. I just went out for lunch, and people are there's booze all around me, and I asked, "What are your mocktails? Like, what do you have for a mocktail?" And I just can't even imagine drinking. It's crazy. I never thought I would hear myself say that, but yeah. So
That's amazing. Yeah, you're not running from your emotions, and you're realizing that, emotions are actually they're good helpers. And did you feel that sobriety was actually possible when joining S7, or were you just kind of going through the motions and just like hoping for the best? Like where were you at mentally when you first joined?
So when I first joined, yeah, like I think I was kind of like, "Ooh, is this going to help me?" Because I have tried it before, like to get sober, and I would always maybe a month would go by, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, let me have a drink." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I think at first I was a little bit leery. I wasn't too sure, but once I started, got into it and started going on the calls and doing the work, like that's coming to the calls, doing the video, doing a journal, doing the non-negotiables, like getting myself into everything that you're telling us to do. And it's not just didn't happen overnight. Like everything, I would say I'm what 5 6 months in here now, and I would say like now I'm feeling like, oh yeah, so it's taken me a while to work up to this, but like I'm like, wow, this is great. So I would say part way in, like maybe after a couple weeks, I knew, oh, this is gonna totally help me. Like I just knew this is gonna help me live a life of effortless sobriety. I knew that
Just
because
after a couple of weeks, you felt that shift, like, okay,
I
no,
did.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I personally did because I was like, yeah, this is gonna help me. Just because everything you were giving us, everything that was there, I was like, wow, I never had this before. And it was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. It was, yeah. And I just knew that this was meant for me. Like I just knew that this was gonna help me for sure. Yeah.
So like you heard it from Stacy, she had been struggling for 25 years with her addiction to drugs. And why is this? Because she was suppressing her emotions. She wasn't understanding that her emotions are actually her friend. If you've ever seen the movie Inside Out 1 and 2, and if you haven't, don't walk, run! Go and watch it, because that movie perfectly illustrates what is going on in our inner world. And if we were to like tune out sadness or anger, disgust, or like we have been through drugs, you do yourself a disservice, because the more you suppress, the more that energy, that negative energy, gets stored in the body. Your emotions are your greatest teachers. They are there for a reason. You're not just manifesting anxiety in your body because you're an anxious person. You have been experiencing anxiety for a reason. Typically, because you're not living in the here and the now. That's what anxiety teaches us. What does depression teach us? Well, that you're not talking, you're not opening up, you're not having a conversation that you want to have, but maybe you're fearful of how that person may react or how they respond or that they might judge you. So our emotions, I like to look at them as action signals, right? What action do I need to take based off the emotion I feel right now? And the more you learn, like Stacy did, she is queen bee of sending in urge submissions. Like when she has a negative thought, when she has the thought of drinking, she's like boom, 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 puts in the work, trying to understand why she feels the way she feels. And that's why she's killing it. She's freaking understanding that emotions aren't something to run away from. They're something to address and to learn from. And at the end of the day, like, suppressing your emotions is like the stupidest thing you can do, because you're harming yourself by doing that. You're putting so many emotions into a box. By the time you're ready to feel them, early sobriety, it all comes pouring out. And you're like, I don't know what I'm feeling or why I'm feeling it. And now I feel overwhelmed because so much has been shoved down. But eventually it will come out. I recognize this with me. I was a vault, okay? My dad taught me, you want something to cry about? Oh, I'll give you something to cry about. So what that conditioned me to do was to not fucking cry. I looked at sadness as weakness, whereas now I see vulnerability as a strength. So many people will fake it till you make it, or they'll put a face on, and then when they go home, they hate their lives and hate themselves. But what I found was that when you feel your emotions, it allows you to understand not only your addiction and why the addiction itself is there, but what it is that's going on with you. But seeing as I got conditioned for so long to not feel emotions, by the time I was actually ready to, okay, I surrender, I want to feel, I had a hard time feeling emotions. It was hard for them to come out. I had to put on this movie scene from 13 Going on 30. This song would play, Vienna by Billy Joel, and it was this place with Jenna something, with the main character, and she was like rocking back and forth in her childhood home, hoping that she could go back to being age 13, and then her parents come home. I just bawled every time, but I had to put on an actual movie scene to get myself to cry. Whereas now, I watch a 10-second video on Instagram and I'm crying like a baby. Can't turn off the waterworks. But our emotions are there to teach. Our emotions are there to feel. Feeling is healing. And if you truly want to heal, if you truly don't want to struggle with your addiction, just like Stacy, just like myself, then you got to be willing to feel the motherfucking feels. Now, when she came to S7, she really didn't have any of the tools to be able to handle or to feel these emotions. So as she'd been on call after call after call, she started to learn the importance with sitting with being uncomfortable. Because I'm not going to lie to you, in the beginning, it's going to feel wildly uncomfortable because you haven't done it before. For the past 5, 10, 15, 25 years, you've been shoving shit down. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. But the more she learned to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, the better off she was. And it shows proof of that, obviously, because before she struggled to get over a month sober, whereas now she's at 180 days and she's killing it. She's happy, she's feeling herself, she's doing good, she's doing the work. Where when she came, she was unsure of herself, she was doubtful, she didn't know if she could get sober. But she, at this point, was willing to try anything. I mean, anybody struggling for even over a year is most likely going to be willing to do whatever it takes. She was struggling for 25 years. And she was like, I am ready to learn. I am sure there's a different approach that maybe work for me. So next, what she talks about is how fast she got back into being in control of her life, where she didn't want to escape through drinking alcohol every single day.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've been with Sobriety 5, 6 months now. And
Yeah.
what point was it that you started to feel like you had control over your alcohol problem? You said within those first couple of weeks you knew that it was possible, or now you're
Yeah.
gaining that confidence? Like, when did you start gaining that confidence that you had control over your
I
alcohol?
would say like after like a couple months, definitely. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like being first couple weeks, like I would say I knew that this was gonna help me. And then it was like I knew, okay, like I drink non-alcoholic beer. So that's helped me too. Like I haven't, if there was not any non-alcoholic beer, maybe it would be a different story. But I will say, like I do drink non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but I will drink it. And you know what? I'm like, whatever, it's non-alcoholic beer. Who cares? So that has really helped me get over the hump too, because I'm like, oh, I'll just have a non-alcoholic beer, right? But I would say like probably about after a month, I would say,
Okay.
you know, I was like, no, I'm not gonna drink again. Like I just knew I didn't want it. Like
Yeah.
because I started feeling better too, right? Like I was like, oh, I like how I feel. I like that I'm like getting up and I'm not hungover, and I'm getting up and I'm doing things, and I'm like feeling productive, and I'm not tired, and like I'm feeling like really good at this point, And I'm like, why do I want to put that poison back in my body? I don't want to
Oh,
feel
thank
unwell anymore, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
And there was one time though, I ate chocolate. Like this was probably around Christmas time. I had like a big piece of Toblerone chocolate, and I went to bed, and I woke up the next day and I was like, oh my God, I felt horrible. I felt like hungover. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I guess it's because of the sugar. And I'm thinking, this is what I used to feel like all the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you know? So, yeah. So I would say, like, to answer your question, I would say probably about like a month after into
Okay.
this, I would say I was like, I knew I wasn't going to drink. I
I
just
love
had
that.
no desire to drink. It
Wow.
just wasn't doing it for me?
So, how quick can you feel secure in your sobriety? People think that counting days is what it's going to take in order to not struggle with sobriety. They're thinking, oh, if I just keep giving it more and more and more and more and more time, then I won't struggle with my sobriety. But it really is about how you go about changing your life so that way you don't want to escape from it. That is the best security you can give yourself in this sobriety journey. How much am I changing the things that cause me to want to drink? That is how you reach effortless sobriety. And it doesn't have to take you years and years and years. It can take you a smaller amount of time based on your willingness. How willing are you to solve the problems that it is that cause you to want to drink? And now take Stacy, for example. Sure, she's not at effortless sobriety yet, but she is at a lot closer range than she was doing whatever it is she was doing for the past 2 decades. The way that we're doing it now is specifically focusing on the things that cause her to want to drink. And like you heard her say, she's like, I'm working on these things little by little, and things are progressively getting better. I want to remind you guys, she wasn't ever able to go past a month. She's at 180 days sober now. And after this video, she's further along now. But the point is not the days. The point is that she's very aware of what her root problems are. And that just knowing what's at the root, she can solve for those things now. Whereas before, she's just like, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink. Hopefully I don't drink. And then boom, month point comes and she's like, it's like Groundhog Day. It's just the same thing over and over again. And I remember experiencing the exact same thing. I kept telling myself, if I just go long enough without drinking, then I'll be able to not struggle. If I just don't think about it, then I won't struggle. If I just stay away from people. I moved all the way from California to Florida, literally in the hopes that I would stop drinking. But guess what? Wherever you go, there you are. I started drinking in Florida. I was like, dang it! I guess we didn't have to move. But that is why you're struggling, is because you're thinking that it's counting the days. You're thinking that it's how long can I go without alcohol, then I won't struggle. But that approach fails more people than I know. I've had people come to me at 1 year of sobriety, 5 years of sobriety, 10 years of sobriety, still struggling. Why? Because they were just hitting milestones. I'm not going to discredit that they've done work, but they haven't done the full range of work to be able to love themselves and to be able to respect themselves and learn to have those important hard conversations with the people that it is they love, to set boundaries, to prioritize themselves. These are all things that women who've had long durations of sobriety have come to me with these problems. I'm like, how have you made it this far? Counting days, counting days, counting days. So you have to focus on the things that cause you to want to drink and less on the days sober. Win the day, but within that day, what is it that you're working on? What problem are you solving for? And so up next, we're going to see what she said that she tried before joining S7 to get sober. Okay, so this is the longest you've been sober.
Yes.
You're 51 years old, and you've been struggling since your early 20s. And what have you tried in the past to get sober prior to joining S7?
So I did do NA, I went to AA, I went to CHMAH or whatever, the CAMH here in Canada, went to that. I've been to therapy, like I've tried endless amounts of things, and like it just never stuck. Like I went, did a little bit, and then it just, nothing ever stuck. I just never, it didn't help. Like it helped, but it didn't, so.
And
but,
why didn't NA or AA or CPA or HAA, all these?
Yeah.
why specific?
Sorry, I think it's called CAMH. But yeah.
Why didn't NA or AA work for you?
I think it's just because there, like you would go into the rooms and you would hear people's stories, and you would have like a women's group or whatever, but it was just like you're just hearing people's stories. There was like I wasn't walking away with like, oh, here's some homework on, here's what's going on in your life, let's figure out what you have to do. There was no like non-negotiables, like you have to do this and this and this every day, no matter what. You don't want to do it, you have to do it. It's your non-negotiable. There's no negotiating with your non-negotiables. This is what you have to do. Like, here's a journal, watch it. Like there was just no tools. It was just you're going there, you're listening to, oh, this is what happened to me, and people's stories. And, fine, everybody has a story, but you're not walking away with help to help yourself, like to get better. So, I just don't feel that it's just, this is completely different. Like here we're, we have a platform, we come on, you're part of a community, you can message with people. We have, the journals, videos, we journal, the calls, 2 calls a day you can go on, you do your one-on-ones, like there's, they're giving us stuff to do, the non-negotiables, like it's a good structure, and there's like lots of, like building blocks, I think, is you're helping us to build our blocks, to build us to get to that point of effortless sobriety, because it is possible. And I do see, like you talk about it, and I do see that, because I know right now I sit here and I'm saying it to God, I will never drink again. I can say that 100%. I will never drink again or do drugs. I have no desire. And it's only 5 months. Like it's crazy. I never thought I would say this. It's unbelievable. So you're obviously doing something right, because
well, you're doing it.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I'm helping. I got the blueprints, and you just follow, and as long as you follow, you will be just fine. Okay, so that is why AA and NA didn't work. It was kind of just a lot of the rock bottoms, or the people maybe complaining, and it wasn't really something you could take away, like this is what I need to do so I don't sound like that. And I had similar experience when I went, not every AA and NA is the same, but that was my experience. So I agree with you. What she tried to get sober before joining S7, NA, AA, CMHA, CAMHA, Canadian Mental Health Association, and therapy. Now, these things did not work for her. Obviously, seeing as she'd been struggling for 25 years. She said she tried a little bit, and then she didn't get really the results that it is she was looking for. So why NA and AA didn't work for her was because she said that they were more story-based than solution-based, where they're just focusing on story after story after story, rock bottom after rock bottom after rock bottom, reliving the worst moments of your life in hopes that, hey, if I just keep reliving this, that should keep me sober. But what happens when you forgive yourself and the guilt subsides and you no longer are shaming yourself? Then what happens is most people's brains will be like, oh, we could drink now. We're better now. We're good. So now she's going to talk a little bit about therapy and why therapy didn't work for her.
Yeah.
Now, why do you believe that therapy didn't work for you when it came to your addiction?
Well, I think with the therapy, like I just didn't, it was okay. Like it helped me, like, oh, maybe I know I have some inner child work to do or whatever, but it's just, it didn't hit the nail on the head. Like it just, I feel like here we're getting to the root of the problem. And that is like, that sticks in my head so much. The root of the problem. What are the root of our problems that cause us to drink? When we watch that video about the cause and effect, like the effect, the cause is the problem and the effect is drinking or drugs or whatever your addiction is. That made the light bulbs just went off and it was like, oh my gosh, wow, this is so true. Because really, like, this is oh my gosh, this is brilliant, like this is amazing. And so that is really, like, I feel like in therapy we didn't really get to the root of my problem, like that. So maybe that's why it didn't work. Like some of it was good. It was good to talk to somebody and be able to, take some things away. And sure, you got, some advice in that. But I feel like this is just that much better. It's just more, there's just more to it. There's more substance to this whole program. It's just, wow. Yeah, it really is truly amazing. It really is. Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
And how long did you do therapy for prior to joining Sobriety 7?
I did therapy again off and on, like when in my 20s, like late 20s, and then in my 30s. I would do some online therapy. I did some therapy in Barrie. Like I went to a therapist there, did some EMDR work, that kind of stuff. So off and on, I've been doing therapy since my late 20s into now. Well, maybe not into the last 5 or 6 years, but well, maybe sorry. I did a little bit of online therapy with Well and Vibe, which was okay. But yeah, it just didn't, I would do one or two and then I wouldn't go back. So, the way I look at it too, if it was helping me that much, I would have probably been still doing it, right? But I just would do one or two and then it would just go to the wayside. So obviously it wasn't, helping me. And I was still continuing the same pattern over and over again, so yeah.
Therapy for many years, but it felt good
Mhm.
to maybe take a couple things away. And
Yeah.
sometimes, it feels good when people tell you what you want to hear and just keep coming back. But
Yeah.
here you find that we're really trying to get to that root of what
Yeah.
causes Stacy to want to escape her
Yeah.
life. And you feel
Hmm.
like that's been pretty
Oh yeah.
beneficial.
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Oh, definitely. Like I said, it's like hitting the nail right on the head, like
Hit the
this,
nail on the head,
just
baby.
right on the head.
I
And
love
then also too, like what I've noticed is people have been noticing in my life, like my mom, she's paid me a lot of good compliments, and like saying like, oh, I can see these things are changing for you. This is very good for you, Stacey. Like she sees what I and like how I'm changing from the work I'm doing. And she's even given me those compliments and said, wow, this is pretty amazing. And she's even said, that Cheyenne, you tell her I love her. She said she is amazing. She said, I'm so happy that she's come into your life. So you tell her I just love her. Thank
Well,
you.
you tell mom that I said I appreciate it. That
I
is
will.
really great. I'm happy to hear that. It always feels good. We don't need people's validation, but when we get validation or acceptance
Yeah.
or compliments or approval or just acknowledging that we're doing good work, it feels so good, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So she had done therapy for many of years and it just didn't get to the root problem, the cause and the effect. What causes her to want to escape? The effect was alcohol, drugs, right? But one understanding what caused her to drink and I remember the same thing. Like I always thought that alcohol was my problem. I always told myself, you are your daddy's daughter and his daddy and his daddy and his grandpappy before his grandpappy all drank. And I really did believe that genes played a huge, huge role in that this was just my destiny. But genes are not your destiny. What I learned was one, I needed to understand the root cause of what made me want to drink. I had a shitty relationship. I didn't know how to communicate. I was fearful of judgment. I didn't know how to love myself. Like these are all the things that I had to work through. Many more, but those were like the core ones that made me want to escape my life. And it wasn't until I had accountability. She had tried therapy. I tried therapy. I tried AA. But none of those methods held me accountable. It was just like a keep coming back with the problems. It's okay if you don't solve them. Whereas my husband now, who was my boyfriend at the time, when I told him I was getting sober, he held my ass accountable. And we also had his brother move in too. And his brother, you know, he had some beef against Chi-Town, Chi City. And that really helped keep me accountable too, because I'm like, I'm not giving this guy another excuse to not like me. I will not drink. And I realized the importance of accountability. So around that 3-month mark, when I wanted to start slipping back into drinking, I realized I'm going to make an Instagram. So that way I hold myself accountable. So 2 things which are very important that you need to understand are, you've got to understand what your problem is that makes you want to drink, and you've also got to have that accountability, because you ain't gonna do it when your brain is a bowl of fucking spaghetti and you're newly sober. So you need somebody there to help guide you and assist you, because there's gonna be days that you don't want to do it for yourself. But if you are involved in something where there's somebody pushing you, kind of like my husband was pushing me, you're going to be able to go a lot further, and then you'll get to the point where you could do it for yourself, and it just feels good. So as she talked about the cause and effect, I want to break down this philosophy. So many people think that this is their life problem. I have a problem with alcohol. I have a problem with alcohol. Drinking is my problem. That's what causes all of the issues in my life. But the philosophy that it is that I have here is, these are the things that cause you to want to drink. These are the things that feed your desire to drink. So for example, having a bad relationship with your partner, what does that create? That creates anger, resentment. So what is it that you want to do? Retaliation. You go off and you go drink about it rather than solving the issues that it is you have in your relationship. Procrastinates. What does that create? Anxiety, because you have poor, proper prioritization. You're not putting yourself first. You're just cleaning your house and playing Sudoku and going out on walks and doing all these things that don't actually help you solve for your problems. You're not doing the things that are going to make you feel your absolute best to be able to be in the best mindset that you could be in to work on your sobriety. Can't forgive someone. That's resentment, right? So you have all this resentment. You're holding all this anger from the past, thinking that that person's going to suffer if I just continue to be angry and upset. If I just continue to not forgive them, that person's going to feel my wrath. No, that person's going to go on living. You're carrying that. But what ends up happening is you want to drink because you are so angry and you can't change it. You can't fix it. Maybe that person died and now you really feel like you can't fix it or change it. But you can. Focus on the past events. What does that create? Depression. Depression is going to lead you to wanting to drink. Focusing on the past. But it's almost like the past isn't real. You can't change it. You can't fix it. All you can do is learn from it. Or you could continue to run from it. But the choice is yours. But if you continue to run from it, that depression is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And your desire to drink is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. And then that is what creates a dependency on alcohol. You want to get rid of this, then you need to get rid of focusing so heavily on the past. Not being vulnerable. What does that do? That creates loneliness, right? I'm the only one who struggles with this. It's so embarrassing. I can't believe I have this addiction to alcohol. Me, out of everybody. Who would have thought? Why did my life get like this? How is my life like this? That loneliness, not talking about the things that it is you have going on in your life, creates that desire for you to escape, creates that desire for you to drink. Maybe you're the only one in your household that does drink. And so you feel alone, and if you bring it up to anybody in your household, they're going to judge you, they're going to reject you, they're going to leave you. So you just sit with it year after year after year after year until one day you have a literal mental breakdown and you can't take hiding these things any longer. Focused on things you can't control, which is going to create fear, and focusing on other people's decisions, what other people think, feel, say, world events, the past, all of that rumination of things that you can't control create fear. And that fear leads to, well, I gotta escape. Rather than learning to focus on things inside of your circle of control, what you think, what you believe, how you act, what your attitude is, how you show up, when you ask for help. And that's an important one, asking for help. We think in the beginning that we could do it on our own, but it's not that you can't. is that it's just going to take you a whole lot longer. And when we understand that time is the most valuable thing that you own, you don't ever want to waste any more of it. You will never get a refund on a wasted hour. Never. Or a wasted month or a wasted decade. All we can do is ask for help when it is we need help. Otherwise, that addiction to alcohol is always going to be there because you haven't dealt with your underlying issues. So the next thing that she talked about was the one thing that she thinks made the biggest difference in her sobriety journey when joining S7. With that being said, how long have you been sober now?
So I have been sober for what is it? 160 days. So I've been sober for 160 days, which is now 160 days. So 5 months and 7 days.
What are the two biggest things that have happened to you since joining Sobriety 7?
So the two biggest things I would say is that I've regained my life back, which is amazing. I totally have regained my life back, which is and then also that I am becoming my true authentic self. That's another thing, which is I am like, that's all I've ever wanted to be is my true authentic self. And now I'm coming into that person. And that is just like, I can't even explain it. It's just, yes.
Chef's kiss.
So good. Yeah.
And so how did you regain your life and your authenticity?
I would say from like, I think obviously from joining this has given me like the tools to get to this point. Like, doing watching the videos, doing the journals, like I'm digging down deep into myself. But the thing is the life problems. Though it's the one thing is the life problems, like working on our life problems that has caused us to drink or do drugs, and figuring those things out is helping me to become into this person, because I for so long have lived a lie. I've had a mask on, and now the mask's coming off. And it's because I'm learning, like I'm finding out what are these problems, what are these things that are causing me to be that way. And that's not who I am, or that has brought me to that point, but that's not who I am anymore. So I feel like that is just being part of this community, and the tools that you give us and the things that we're working on is helping me to get to this point. Like when you do the journal, especially the awareness section, the very beginning, like becoming aware of like what makes you drink, why are you doing that, like that beginning stage of doing those journals and watching the video, doing the journal is like, wow, it's helping you to kind of see things because there you can read it, and then like doing the non-negotiables, that's helping you build that structure. It's helping you have a routine. But and then just, I don't know, just figuring out what the life problems are, like figuring out what is the life problem, what is this life problem that's causing me to want to drink, and like the emotions too, like the urge checklist, like discovering your emotions. What are the emotions? So it's not just all about just drinking, but those emotions come up, and that's going to cause you to drink or do drugs or whatever. So when you can identify the emotions and figure out what are these emotions, that also has just helped so much, I think.
So what she believes that created the success that she had in S7 was working on her life problems, right? She didn't feel confident in herself. She wasn't able to be present. She was showing up to places hungover. She wasn't actually being her best self. And at the cause, what was creating that? Her inability to feel her emotions. She didn't talk about things. She always showed up as this chipper, cheery version of herself, but inside she was suffering. She was struggling with the things that it is she had going on. Now she's more willing to talk about these things. So she tells her husband, she tells her cousin, she tells her friends, her mom is noticing. And it's because she's no longer living a double life. She's no longer living a split life. Also, she became aware of why she drank. And once you become aware, it's your choice what you do with that awareness. You can either continue to live life the exact same way that you've lived, which many people do. Many people are like, I know what my problem is. I know I don't want to put myself first. I know I don't want to have the hard conversations. I know I don't want to respect myself or lean on learning how to be disciplined. I know I just want to keep continuing to take the easy path. It's like, Those people will continue to struggle in their sobriety. And then there's the other people who have the awareness and are like, I need to take action. A lot like Stacy. That is what she did. She started doing her non-negotiables. She started walking consistently every single day, making it to the team calls every single day, popping her hand up even though she said, I struggle to share. I'm like, nope, you do not struggle to share. Stop saying that narrative. You no longer struggle to share. She's like, oh my gosh, I feel like this weight has been lifted off of me. Now I just pop my hand up and I'm not afraid to share, because she understands that she doesn't have to fear being judged, because everybody goes through something of their own. But very rarely do people open up and express themselves. If more people did that, we'd live in a more honest world. And then lastly, she does her urge checklist. Urge checklists are any negative emotion, because that can lead to wanting to drink, any small thought of wanting to drink, because there's a reason for that, what's causing that small thought of escaping, and then the big desire to want to escape life. Those are the 3 things that you enter an urge checklist for. And she does these regularly. She's just making it rain out there in the club with urge checklist. Why? Because it's helping her understand more of what causes her to want to drink. This is why she's had so much success. And I just get so geeked up because she's friggin' killing it! Ah! So the next thing that she talks about is the biggest thing she had to fix in her life so she can get where it is she's at in her sobriety today with S7. What life problem thus far, because we're still working, we're still going,
Right.
which one that you have solved has been the most impactful?
Which one have I? Oh, there's been a few. That's been the most impactful. Oh gosh, there's so many that I've done. It's hard to say. Well, I think the ones like when I've had to like just oh gosh, like building my confidence ones, like those ones where I've had to like build the confidence. So, if there's something I didn't like, and then, I urged about it and said, like something, that I didn't like, or I didn't like what was going on before, I would never say it. But now I feel I have more confidence that now I can like say the things that I don't like. So, like working on that part, like it has built my confidence a lot. Before I didn't have a lot of confidence, even though I thought I did, I didn't. Right. And so I would just go along with the flow. And like, if I didn't like something, I wouldn't say it, but then I'd be so mad and cause myself this anger. So working on that part has really helped. And, building my confidence that way. So working on some of those life problems, and then just, I think, like just the little, I've worked on a couple of them. They're so random, but they have helped me. Or even like going to the grocery store, when you gave me that challenge and I had to go to the damn grocery store and talk to people and tell them, oh, you look so nice, and give them a compliment. Like I found it to be the hardest thing to do. But in the end, now that really built my confidence. And now I notice when I go to the grocery store, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Well, you look great. Or, it's just more natural now, it feels like, okay, I can do that. So yeah, I would say something like that. And then I think also going on the calls when we have to share, that also helps with your confidence, right? Because we have our calls, we go on, and then, we talk about different things, and everybody can share. And everybody, I think, is kind of, oh, we all want to share, but we're like, oh no. But then when you start to share more and open up, it really does help. And then also when you are sitting and listening, there's a lot that you take from other people and what they're going through. It helps you. Like there's been so many people that have gone through different things, and I've been like, oh my gosh, I so relate with you. So that's really helpful too. Like the calls, definitely.
So the biggest life issues that she had to fix in order to get sober were developing that confidence and expressing, not suppressing. I can totally relate to her on the confidence, because I used to pride myself on being this ultra confident person, but I also drank like a fish. And as soon as I stopped drinking alcohol, I remember being on a cruise ship with my boyfriend, who's now my husband. Ayo, put a ring on it if you like it. He and I went on a cruise for 3 days, and I remember there being open karaoke and how badly I wanted to sing karaoke, but I didn't feel confident enough because I wasn't drinking. And he had told me, he's like, main character syndrome. Like, one, these people are all clearly drinking. They're not going to remember. And if for whatever odd reason they do, they're not going to be like, hey, you were that girl on the cruise ship butchering that song. They're not. So get up there and shake your tail feather. I realized in that moment that confidence could never be bought. It always had to be built. So after doing that, I felt a little bit more confident. Then after doing the next scary thing, I felt a little bit more confident. And then I just kept doing things that scared me over and over and over again until they no longer scared me. And I was just like, I'm just a confident person because I do the things that I want to do despite what anybody else thinks of me, if they like me. Because a lot of people hold themselves back and need alcohol as a buffer to be like, oh, I was just drunk, sorry, LOL. But no, you don't need that buffer. You don't need permission from alcohol. You just have to learn by doing to do the things that you want to do. And so what she was talking about was this activity that we gave her, which was go talk to 10 people in the supermarket and just conversate. And she's like, I don't know if I could do that. And so I sent her a video of me doing it and was like, sure you can. You just go and talk. And she's like, after I did that, like I felt so much more confident. Now I'm starting to do that when I'm not having to do it for an assignment and just going out and being confident, because that's how confidence works. You just do something that scares you and then it no longer scares you. Once you see on the other side, it's like, oh, that actually wasn't so scary. And then the expressing, not suppressing again. Every time you push your feelings or your thoughts down, you're just doing yourself a disservice. You are literally contributing to the desire to drink. It's like, I don't want to feel my feelings. I don't want to talk about what it is I'm feeling. I don't want to say what it is I'm thinking. You are at fault for why you drink because you're not doing those things. You have to be able to express. And again, like confidence, it feels awkward at first. It feels weird. But over time, you'll start to be able to talk and be an open book. I remember what a poor speaker I was when I first started talking. I was afraid that I said something and if it sounded stupid, or what if I messed up or stuttered on my words, or what it is that I was saying didn't make sense, or I blame my ADHD. I can't have a thought that just makes sense for everybody to hear it. And then over time, I just started talking more and more. And guess what? I got better. And I still have light years ahead of me that I want to get even more great at speaking. I want to get better and better and better. And this is something that you learn through doing. You're not just going to think your way into confidence. You're not just going to think your way into not suppressing things. You have to actually take action. What was it about the accountability and your one-on-one coaching that you have with Jasmine that really helped you in this program?
Oh, wow. So the accountability and the one-on-one coaching, that is amazing. Oh, man. That is the best therapy I've ever had. Like I've had that's the best therapy. Because with Jasmine, like I can remember our first call, our first check-in, it was like, checking in. And then she helped me write my why. Oh, that was like when she helped me write that why, and read it back to me, I was like, whoa, like I get shivers right now just thinking about it. And I have that why in my book and I read it every day. It really like that was amazing. And then just every call that I've had after that, it's not like just see, this is what's great about this too, is you have your call and then we have our tasks. Like you have to do for a certain amount of things and then you get your next call. So It's not just like, we're like, here's your call. Here's your call. Like you're working for it, but good work because you're doing the stuff you need to do to help yourself get better, to get to that next point. You're walking up the steps, you're getting up there, and then you can, get her, and then she can help you with more stuff. So the calls with her are just amazing. She's amazing. Like she, helps me so much figuring things out, hearing me, helping me put together a plan, working on my life problems. And yeah, it's so that I remember like that is the best. The one-on-ones, oh my God. And just the accountability and putting together our tasks. It's amazing. It's honestly
accountability, one-on-one calls,
yes,
coaching.
so good.
And yes, I love that you mentioned the fact that you have certain tasks and then you get a call.
Yes.
Rather than you get a call every single week, regardless if you're not doing shit.
Yeah.
It's like, no, not here. That's where we separate ourselves from therapy because we want to see you work, put in the work. That's how we reach effortless sobriety. I know effortless sobriety sounds like it should be effortless, but no, you would agree. It's a
Hmm.
tremendous amount of
Yeah.
work. And when you
Yeah.
put that work in, you get the feeling that you feel right now. And then the
Yes.
secret is to never stop putting in that work. It might not be so heavily on sobriety, but it will then at one point be yourself, right? So
Yes.
you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
absolutely crushing
So
it.
good.
Other things that she said created success for her were accountability, right? Having somebody or multiple people hold you accountable for something that it is you set out to do. Because somewhere along the line, you're going to start getting that voice. That voice is going to creep in, and he's going to say, you can have just one. You don't need to do your non negotiables. You don't need to go and be confident. Drink me, I'll give you confidence. And that is why having accountability is so important. It's also nice to have people in your corner who want the same things out of life that you do. She also talked about creating a perfect crafted why, understanding why she wanted to become this future version of herself. She built her identity in the present, and then every day after that continued to read what she wrote. She's like, yes, this is how I show up. Yes, this is how I show up. And that is how you do it, through repetition every single day, building blocks. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be that person. And then one day, you don't have to say, I'm going to be that person. You're like, I am that person. It's like when you go to sleep. You don't just lay down and freaking body shuts off. No, you sit there, you close your eyes, you slow your breath down, and then eventually you go to sleep. Why? Because you were pretending to be asleep. It's the same thing in sobriety. You just pretend to be that of a sober person. How would a sober person show up right now? How would somebody who doesn't drink show up right now? Oh, they would do X, Y, and Z. And that's all you have to do. And then she talked about how we enforce getting tasks done to earn the next call. This ain't no therapy. You don't get call week after week after week. You must do the task that is given that I know and the other coaches know will better enhance the quality of your life. And when you have a life of substance and quality, your desire to drink, out the window. You don't want to escape the life that it is you live. Just like Stacy. She's like, I love this life, putting it up. I'm praising the man in the sky. She's like Tom Cruise jumping on the couch, like, woo! She's so happy because she's forcing herself to do the things that make her uncomfortable so she can get her next call. And she always does her task. And then lastly, she talks about helping create systems for urges and how that helped her, again, using that urge checklist for any negative thought, any small desire to drink, or the big, I want to drink so fucking bad, right? To have an outlet, to have a place where you can talk about these things and you're not reprimanded or shamed, but we get curious and we question, where is that coming from? If we were to look at this as cause and effect, what is causing that negative emotion? What is causing that small thought of drinking? What is causing that big desire to put your keys in the ignition and drive to the liquor store and drink that drink? Well, we figure it out by submitting those urge checklists, which she has absolutely freaking killed it because she does them so frequently. So at the end of the call, I asked her, what did you fear most when it came to making the decision to make change in your life once and for all? You were back, 5 months prior to joining
Yeah.
the community. I know that you and I had spoke for a year, essentially,
Yes.
in the DM,
Yeah.
going back and forth. You're like, well, one day I'll join, one day I'll join. You finally bit the bullet and you're like, all
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna listen to maybe what this chick's got to say.
Hmm.
So what were your biggest concerns about joining the community prior to you joining?
Okay, so I think for me, what it was is I don't think I was ready, 100% ready to be like, I'm going to stop drinking or doing drugs. Like, I was not ready to completely be like, oh my God, my life will be so boring without this. Like, I can remember quitting before and thinking, this is boring. Like, on a Friday night, I'm not drinking. This is so boring. So I think I wasn't completely 100% ready to give it my all. And then maybe I was a little bit just, scared. Like, okay, this is a real commitment. And I think I knew once I joined that this was going to be like the end. Like I just had this feeling like this was like I was finally coming to the end of my rope. Like I needed to change. And I was like, so I think I was just scared. And also it was like, okay, am I ready to 100% give this up? And so I think that's probably what was holding me back when I look back at that, and so yeah, because the day I remember it was crazy how you just like, I was going through a downward spiral, and you just like came in that Saturday night and was like, hey, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's when it was like, I was just ready to change my life. And then you were like, do you want to meet tomorrow? Like, have you been drinking now? Yeah. And I'm like, you're like, well, we'll meet tomorrow. I'm like, yep. Yeah, okay, let's do it. And then the rest is history. It was just like, yeah, it was, wow, amazing.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So, yeah. So that's, I think that's why I was a little bit nervous before, just a little hesitant. Like, I loved watching your stories. I was seeing all the, and like part of me was like, do it, Stacey. And then other parts of me would be like, no, I'm not ready. And like, like that little devil, no, you want to keep partying.
Right.
No,
So you had a
no.
belief. And like we talk a lot in the community, your
Yeah.
beliefs feed a narrative, right?
Yeah.
So you had this belief that if I get, because you're partially not ready, right? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
then there's that other part where you're like, life is gonna be so fucking boring
Yeah.
if I stop drinking, if I stop drugging and thugging
Yeah.
out here in the streets of Canada. But what do you think about life now? Do you feel like it's boring?
No, if anything, I feel like it's amazing. Like, it's honestly, oh, it's, I think I've always wanted this, and I could always, like, I knew this could always be this way, but I was just never willing, like, it was just never willing to give it 100%, this,
Right.
To do this. But I'm so happy. Like, of course I have bad days, but I mean, everybody has our ups and downs, but
Yeah.
overall, no, I'm so happy. I would never trade this in ever again to have a drink or do drugs. Like, I'm at peace. I feel peaceful. You know what I mean? I don't feel chaotic anymore. I'm not waking up all hungover. What did I say? What did I do? I'm not fighting with my husband, my family, my friends. I feel at peace. Like, it's really good.
So the fear she had when deciding to make change was the same as many of us. Will my life be boring without drugs? And as you heard her say, no, my life was not boring. No, things didn't just completely freeze over. Like, she was able to have a better quality of life where she has more fun. She is more present. She just didn't know what she didn't know, like many of us. And her and I had spoken for over a year before she decided to actually, bite the bullet, because she was scared to make the commitment and kill off that old life, kill off that old identity. Because a lot of the times we're afraid of letting go because we don't know what it is that we can gain. There's like this saying where it's like you give up one thing for everything, or you give up everything for that one thing. And I was like, oh, that sounds shitty. But once I got sober, I realized how true it was. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really did depend on it for everything, for date night, for going out, for random Tuesday at 2:30 in the afternoon. Like, it really did not matter. I needed it, or I felt like I needed it. But you don't. And then the last thing she talked about was how she kept telling herself she wasn't ready. Here's the thing I'll say about that. If you keep telling yourself that you're not ready, guess what? You won't be ready. If you keep telling yourself that I can't, guess what? You won't. Not because you can't, not because you're not ready, but because that's the narrative you keep telling yourself. You keep feeding yourself this lie. But if you were to switch that around and say, you know what? I don't want to waste any more time. I don't want to waste any more money. I don't want to waste any more energy or effort on drinking day in and day out. I don't like the results that it's given me. I don't like where it is I'm at. I don't love myself. I'm not confident. My relationship is hanging on by a friggin' thread. My husband's about to leave me. I don't want to do this anymore. When you make that decision, and it doesn't have to be based off of the back of a rock bottom, you could just decide it today on a random Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not doing this shit anymore. And then you honor that decision every single day. So it's not that you're not ready. It's not that you can't. It's just that you keep telling yourself that. So that is literally the reality you're creating simply by what you're saying. So speak life into what you want to see as possibilities, and stop speaking negative thoughts into your life. Like, I can't, I won't. Yes, you will. Yes, you can. So finally, I asked her if there were any advice that you could have given yourself before joining the coaching program. If you could go back in time, you knew Doc from Back to the Future, what would you tell yourself? So if you were the Stacey, right, joining S7 six months ago, what advice would you have given to her?
Oh, right now, if I was giving her advice?
Yep.
I would tell her, starting her ass up. No, I'm just joking. I would tell her that, this is definitely something that she would thrive very well in. This is something that she would need, and that hands down, this was something she would never regret, and it would change her life forever. Yeah, I would say do it. Just do it. Like it's a thing that she's been looking for. That's what I would say. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I am so freaking proud of you. You put in so much work. I know that we have only just begun,
Yes.
but we have so much more to get to, and I'm excited to do the work with you for this video. What is your Instagram? So that way people know that you're real.
So it's SA James 74.
All right. Perfect. Well, we're going to all follow
That's
you.
it. SA James 74. Yeah. Okay. It's private, but they'll see my thing. So it's SA James 74 is my Instagram.
Amazing.
I'm a real person. I'm real.
I'm real. Look at me. Yes. I can't fake this. I don't know.
I'm real.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Stacy, for doing this call. I'm going to see you on Monday. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. You're an angel sent from up above. I've told you that many a times. I love you so much.
I love you so much. Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, bye.